Focus. Hello there, wary traveller. My name is Jack. You may know me as one of the voice narrators on MK. Well, this is my channel, Mick, and today we take things a bit more casually here, as casually as I'm capable of doing. If you do enjoy today's content, please leave a like on the video, help my channel out, let's grow it together, like a couple. We're in this now, we're in this together, you and me. We signed the papers, you can't leave now, you can't leave! This post is from user Drudawugududrude. I terribly butchered that. Am I the a-hole for not sharing medical history before being pranked? Heyo, I'm a schizophrenic. Started when I was 22 and will last till I die. I'm active in schizophrenic communities, go to groups, the works, but I am fairly private about it to most people, to include friends. It's fairly common for people to think I'm eccentric, comes with the turf, due to some of my habits. Those habits include not going to parties or other places with lots of people, suddenly deciding not to do something, I have to be protective not to do or go to certain things if I think delusion might be coming on, saying the occasional odd quip, normal schizophrenic stuff. Some friends thought it would be funny to make it seem like I might be going crazy as a group. They would individually wear something silly like a wizard hat or a dinosaur costume, T-Rex blow-up costume, to a group event or say something totally out of the ordinary and pretend like it was normal. Police like to track people like you. COVID is just a way to microchip you, etc. These are very real scary thoughts to me. I would ask members of the group if they had heard concerns about these conspiracies or weird garb from other members, but they all acted like they had hung out with that particular member that day and I hadn't been involved. I was really scared that this could have been a massive delusion morphing into a full psychosis, so I preemptively checked myself into a hospital to stop myself from potentially hurting myself or diving further into the rabbit hole, common in schizophrenic community. I was so scared my medication stopped working. No one heard from me for a few days while I was in the hospital, and while I checked out, I confided in one of them about what had happened. I got a really long apology explaining what had happened, and I blew up at them. I have ignored attempts from the others trying to apologize and have no desire to talk with them again. Am I the a-hole for not previously stating that I am schizophrenic? Edit. People have been saying to post the length of the prank. Around 3 weeks. Edit 2. Thank you for the rewards and stuff, but I really want to highlight some of the messages I have gotten. I'm at around 150 messages and counting, and I'm trying to respond to the ones where I can hopefully offer insight. Resources that I find helpful are the entire subreddit of Schizophrenia. For groups, just Google schizophrenia supports groups in my area. Something will pop up, and when you actually get there, someone will have a further list. You get what you put into groups. You don't have to talk your first couple of times. But no one will look at you with the bat-crazy look if you say, reality check, is there a bird in the room or something in that regard? That did happen once, and the audible sigh of relief from 8 other people and laughter that followed was hysterical. Medication helps so much. It's the difference between being able to go for a walk with my dog and staying in bed all day. But it takes time. So many people have asked what drug and dosage a loved one should go on. I cannot answer that. There are so many drugs out there and different dosages. I can tell you that you probably will not have a noticeable difference in behavior in 2 weeks after trying a medication. You start small and work your way up to a therapeutic effect when it actually helps. It might take some time to actually get to feeling human again. Not every medication is meant for every person, but don't give up. Not the a-hole. Even if you didn't disclose your medical history, they knew enough that saying those things would mess with you. If a prank doesn't leave both parties laughing, it isn't a prank. It's bullying. A prank is leaving plastic flamingos on a friend's lawn or something harmless like that. That wasn't a prank. When it comes to pranks, confuse, don't abuse. Ooh, I love that. That's such a good, catchy phrase to use in this situation. It simplifies it, but also keeps it relevant to the issue. My friends and I wanted to go in a pool after a long hike 2 years ago. Our other friends often host parties, and one of them had a birthday coming up in 3 weeks, so we pranked them by popping into a dollar store to get party supplies and food, technically snuck into their property, we knew the gate codes from visiting so much, and after setting up, surprising them with an impromptu birthday party. That is a prank. Your friends are bizarrely sadistic to gaslight and bully you. Lose them. Edit for those disputing that this counts as a prank. I left out that we told them we were there by taking pictures of ourselves in the pool and bragging about what a fun time we were having. They were confused as they clearly recognized the location and snuck out to investigate. Personally, I think all surprise parties are technically pranks, but not all pranks are surprise parties. I was thinking this was a very particular prank as I read. They definitely couldn't have not known. Yeah, I was going to go on a tangent myself, but it is so true what everyone here has said. You are not the a-hole in this scenario. They've ticked every single box in how you are the right person to be upset about this. Especially what the user Johonatan once said about how it was a very particular prank. My guess is some of them were somewhat aware that you had a bit of a mental issue going on, and they wanted to kind of pry it open and have some fun with it, stretch it, see what they could do. Not that I'm excusing it, I'm merely just trying to explain what I think they were doing. And wonderfully, we get an update to the story. Heyo, I had a few folks messaging me over the last couple of months, the latest tonight. It touches me that so many of you still message me to see if things are going well, so I wanted to update people en masse. Life is going phenomenally. I axed the friend group, and have since been kicking butt. I realized that if my close friend group was consistently putting me down or taking advantage of me, who else could be? The biggest answer was myself. I stopped doing things I enjoyed to invest in people that took joy in hurting me. Turns out it went much deeper than gaslighting. I got 2 new hobbies, woodworking and brewing. I absolutely love them both, and have made friends in those communities. I started cooking instead of takeout, and I met the woman who is now my girlfriend at the local market, and we do most things together now. I realized my job had been taking a huge advantage over me. I worked significantly harder and longer hours for less pay than the employees under me. After I transitioned to taking better care of myself, I successfully created a resume that outlined my successes. Recognizing those successes took quite a bit of effort, and got a new job in higher management for significantly more pay. I'm also going to buy a house this December with a yard for my dog and I. Nothing big, just a nice 1-bedroom with a large yard for my buddy and I to play fetch in. So, thanks Reddit. Owe you one. Never would have made my life improvement if it weren't for an external force. And there you have it. What a beautiful conclusion to the 2 months of absolute torment this person would have been going through at this time. I'm happy for you, Drew Dog the Druid. Aha, see, I got your name right this time. Only took me about 2 months. Next is from user Sanrio Throwaway. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a throwaway account. Am I the a-hole for asking my girlfriend to not wear childish accessories to meet my family? I'll try to make this short. My girlfriend and I have dated for 3 years now. She's 22 and I'm 24. My girlfriend is obsessed with those Sanrio characters, like Hello Kitty and My Melody. She'll wear things like jewelry, sweaters, socks, etc. that have the characters on them. She even has a My Melody purse she brings everywhere. I don't make fun of her for it or anything, although I think it's a little silly. I love her for the person she is. Yesterday, my family was having a smaller get-together at my house with my grandparents on both sides of my family and my aunts and uncles. My girlfriend has met my parents and siblings, but not my other family members. She was excited, and so was I. When I went to pick her up, though, she was wearing the Hello Kitty jewelry, necklace and earrings, and she had the little Sanrio purse. I asked her nicely if maybe she could take off the jewelry and use a different purse because I felt a little awkward about her meeting my family with them on. She was visibly a bit upset asking me why, and I told her I felt uncomfortable. She said, okay, and did what I asked. We go to my house before any family members arrive, and she takes off her shoes, and I see she has Hello Kitty socks on. I'll admit I did kind of get annoyed. She apologized, saying she forgot she had them on, she was wearing boots, and I asked if she could go up to my room and put on some of my socks instead. This started a whole argument where she accused me of not loving who she is and making fun of her. I just didn't want her to be made fun of by my family or anything. I apologized, but she stayed upset with me for the rest of the day. She was fine meeting my folks, but I could tell she was resenting me and feeling sad. I texted her about it today, and she just said she's a little disappointed that I'm embarrassed of her. I just wanted to protect her. She won't text me back now. Am I the a-hole? Look, I'm gonna have to say, mate, you have been the a-hole in this situation. Though, I'm not gonna say it was a purposeful one. My reason being is that you're valid to have been afraid that she was going to be making fun of. You wanted to protect her, you were worried that she was going to be feeling quite terrible at the end of the day. But I think it's coming from a deeper place than that for you specifically. You admitting that you think it's a little silly with her Hello Kitty and Sanrio enjoyment could possibly be you just projecting that assumption that because you find it a bit embarrassing that the rest of your family will as well. It's similar to an interaction between an introvert and an extrovert. There's quite a bit of a shock factor in terms of how to engage with one another, but over time, you guys learn how to work together. So if anything, I think the sooner your family is exposed to your partner, the more they'll get used to it, and the more they'll accept it, and possibly just enjoy it as well. I also think you need to be a bit reflective here and think about the fact, are you embarrassed for her, or are you embarrassed of her when she's dressed like this? Reality is, humans are emotionally selfish creatures, and it may be possible you're subconsciously caring more about what people will think of you rather than what people will think of her. Of course, that is just an assumption of your character right now. For all I know, I am completely wrong and this was just a one-time moment. That said, I think the best course of action to take here is to start wearing Hello Kitty socks for her for at least a month to make up for it. Show your love, mate. Talkie says, you're the a-hole. You're asking your girlfriend to literally change herself to impress your family. If they don't like her style, who cares? It's not yours, and it doesn't affect you unless you have a fear of judgment about your choice in partner. Also, silly socks is a ridiculous thing to get annoyed at. Everyone wears them sometimes. Your family wouldn't have even noticed. Yes, and I really doubt that this is a new style choice. You started dating her knowing this. Over socks? Is there a list of acceptable colors, or are there specific lengths that must be black or white? Ridiculous. Bugbear Enthusiast also says, I'm gonna go with you're the a-hole. If you love her for who she is, that means all of her, including her sense of fashion. It does seem like you're embarrassed of her, and that's a problem. You have no right to tell her what she can or can't wear. I see she has Hello Kitty socks on. I'll admit, I did get annoyed. Plenty of adults wear silly socks. I just wanted to protect her. From what? It sounds like you're the only one with an issue here. If you wanted to protect her, you should have let her go as is and stood up for her if someone tried to make fun of her. Next story from user throwaway that large number. I don't want to alarm you guys, but I think that's a throwaway account. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go out to eat with my husband? Today, my husband asked if I wanted to go out to eat, and I've always tried avoiding going out to eat since I become a stay-at-home mother, because he leaves terrible tips regardless of the service. I've tried telling him numerous times that it's standard to leave around 18%, and the last time we went out was when we had a $160 bill, and he left an $8 tip. I told him our server was phenomenal and he should leave a bigger tip, and then he left $10. I felt terrible, but I had no money. I used to leave extra cash when I was working because of how he tipped, but I haven't worked in over a year, so I really don't have much money left. After I stopped working, I tried to tell him to leave better tips, but he never would. Anyway, I told him no because he doesn't leave good tips and I don't think it's fair to whoever is serving us. He got mad and said I was calling him cheap, which never came out of my mouth. He's mad at me now, saying I should just appreciate that he wants to take me out, and I shouldn't refuse doing nice things due to something that doesn't affect me. Am I the a-hole? Now I'm wondering if I should have just let it go. User Lightwood Orchestra says, not the a-hole. You are absolutely right to refuse to go out to eat with him when he refuses to tip appropriately. It's unethical and embarrassing to do so. How someone treats service staff tells you a lot about their character. The fact you appear to have no autonomy over your shared money as a stay-at-home mother confirms my suspicion. Your husband is not a good man. He's always very kind to them, but just leaves terrible tips, and I don't understand why. The one time he left a good tip was when we were out with friends, and it's probably because he knew other people would know he rips bad. When I'd go out without him, I always felt like I couldn't go to places I'd been with him before because I didn't want to be remembered as the bad tipper because of my husband. Or if I do return, I leave almost double than standard because I feel terrible. I used to be a server years ago and I know it really sucks. I agree with AH with the second part, but tipping is entirely up to the customer. Yeah, it's nice, but it's not required. You tip how much you want. The server isn't entitled to it. They get paid for their job, so it shouldn't matter. I can understand the point this person's made, but I mean, assuming this is in America, tipping is such a required need for a lot of servers. As an Australian, I'm humbled with the fact that our hospitality industry actually gives people a decent wage. Something to keep you afloat and actually live under. To the point where tipping isn't really necessary or expected at all. Of course, people still tip if you're doing an amazing service, so you're still incentivized to actually give them a good service. But you can be thankful that as long as you're doing a good job at your workplace, you're going to go home with a decent amount of pay. The fact a lot of American restaurants and hospitality businesses still pay their employees such a terribly low wage and you have to rely on tips to get by, that's just so bad as a system. I do love this point made by Foible Schmoible. But the bigger issue is this idea that as a stay-at-home mother, you have no money of your own. He might earn money outside the house, but you are saving money by working in the house, in terms of childcare fees. You deserve something for the work you do for your family, and you should get some portion of the family income. Add cleaning fees on top of that, and, if it's that kind of household too, the cooking fees you also do. I mean, I have my own debit card that I use to go to do the groceries, buy things for the house, and buy things for myself. I just don't bring cash with me when we go out, and he always pays with his card.
I think if I ever do go out with him in the future, I'm just going to take cash out from the bank and keep it on me. This story from user I'm not an adult yet. Am I the a-hole for deleting the photos from my sister's shoot after her and her boyfriend made me really uncomfortable? So, backstory. My little sister, 17 female, boyfriend, 17 male, has been staying with our family over the summer. Ever since they arrived, he's been sharing details of their sex life that I don't want to know, and I've been clear about this, literally saying, I don't want to know, please don't tell me anymore. My sister and I are close, and I know if she wants or needs to talk to me, she will, but I also know there are things she prefers to keep private, and her boyfriend was making it uncomfortable for both of us. Today she did her hair, and the sun was out, so she asked if I could take some photos of her in the clothes she's made so she can post them and promote her business. I said, yes, obviously. I studied photography and am actually pretty good. Her boyfriend put on one outfit, and she put on another, and we started taking photos, and it was really fun. But before long, he started grabbing her boobs in the photos, which they both found really funny, and wouldn't stop even after I repeatedly asked them to. At which point my sister actually grabbed his junk through his shorts and they both started laughing again. I said if they kept doing it, I'd stop taking photos and delete the ones I had taken. They stopped for a little bit, but then it started again, with both of them touching each other inappropriately in public, I might add. I'm an adult, so not only was this my sister, but it was two minors, and I was kind of disgusted. I walked away, and they both chased after me, apologizing and saying they didn't mean anything by it, but I was so ticked off I didn't really care. I got home and deleted all the photos, true to my word. I don't really feel bad about it. I'd said I'd do it, and I did. But just wondering what other people's opinions would be, so... Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You repeatedly asked them not to act that way because it made you uncomfortable, and they should have listened. You were doing your sister a favor by taking pictures to help promote her clothes, and you asked them to stop touching each other inappropriately. I'm not entirely sure about the legal side of things, but to me, I would assume that it could have turned into a legal issue for you since you were photographing two minors sexually touching each other. What the hell? You with your camera out there looked as if you were shooting erotica with minors. Not the a-hole all the way. Yeah, it looked so bad, and there were other people around too, just to make it worse. Yeah, not the a-hole, your camera, your time, your rules. You were doing them a favor. They don't have a right to your time. Gusby1145 makes a nice point. I'd say this is borderline everyone sucks here, but not the a-hole. You have repeatedly expressed that the sort of thing makes you uncomfortable, and they went and did it anyway. It was a little bit of an overreaction to delete all of the photos, but you stuck to your word. Yeah, I do kind of feel bad now. I deleted them just after I got home, still super angry, and my sister bought me snacks and drinks to apologize, but what's done is done, I guess, from both of us. I'm just hoping she'll know I'm serious from now on when I say stop. Yeah, I agree with Gusby's point. A bit overreactive to delete all the photos. Maybe to act like you deleted them all, put them away in some separate folder area, and act like it until they've genuinely apologized, then reveal to them that you didn't delete them. But it was more so a point to make as to, how they were clearly overstepping their boundaries with you. I'm going to acknowledge the fact that these are young teens who are clearly just very horny for each other and just very expressive in their sexuality. However, just because they're horny doesn't give them a right to express that horniness in front of everyone. At least towards those who are required to be looking at them and taking photos of them. Like, sure, you can be one of those people who makes everyone around you uncomfortable and make out with your partner with all the intensity you love. But the moment you are requiring me to be looking at it and not allowing me to simply walk past it or ignore it, then yeah, no, that's when you can't be doing that kind of thing. Our next story is from Coffee Throw. Am I the a-hole for getting coffee right before close? Oh no, you're one of those people. I will warn you now, I've worked in cafes quite often and I will probably have a bias towards you, but let's go on anyway, let's see how this turns out. A few days ago, my girlfriend and I stopped at a coffee shop, walked up to the door, and it's pretty dark inside. My girlfriend hangs back a bit and says she thinks it might be closed. I check the door just to see, and it opens. The place is empty, and the barista seems to be cleaning up. I ask her, "Hey, what time do you close?" She replies, 5. My girlfriend shyly apologizes and leaves the shop, but I check my phone, and it's 4 minutes to 5. I walk up to the counter and start looking at the espresso menu, because I still had 4 minutes, damn it! The barista doesn't even approach me, and continues to clean while I browse. She does, however, decide to tell me that she is unable to make any espresso drinks since she shut down the machine, but she would be happy to get me some cold brew or juice from the fridge. I asked her if she has any drip, and she says, sorry, no. I'm pretty upset at this point, considering I made a special trip to walk down here, and this barista has closed everything down early. So I ask her why she's closed up before she's supposed to. She smiles and tells me that if there's no customers for a while, then she'll slowly start closing up, and can sometimes leave early. Okay, whatever. I tell her I'll take 2 cold brews. At this point, it's probably about 2 minutes past 5, so all her extra effort was for nothing anyway, seeing as how not being able to serve a customer kept her here longer. I pay, and she comes around the counter to, I assume, walk me out with the keys in her hand. Well, I wasn't ready yet. "Ma'am, I need cream for these," I say as she breezes past me. She apologizes and goes back behind the counter where she produces a jug of half and half, pours some of it into a third cup, and slides it across the counter. She wasn't smiling anymore. This is where I might be the arsehole. Oh, wow, this is where? Okay. I couldn't help myself, but I let out a little scoff at the audacity of everything. Then I popped the tops of the cups and took my time pouring the cream into our coffees. I wasn't going to do it outside like she was obviously hoping I would by putting it in a cup. All the while, this woman is waiting at the door for me. As I'm finally heading out, a group of teenagers approach the door. Because I was leaving at the same time and still had the door in my hand, I was forced to pass the door to them. I heard her tell them as they entered that she was closed, and they all politely left. No big deal. Well, let me tell you, to my girlfriend, I am the worst person on the planet. She hasn't talked to me in 2 days over this incident. She texted me this novel about how disrespectful I am to service workers and how I need to learn a little courtesy and compassion. She was just outraged that I put the poor girl through that, then held the door open for those kids. She says that they wouldn't have even had the chance to go in if I hadn't been there past close. Well, am I the a-hole? Pal, I can see why you've made this a throwaway account. Absolutely yes, you were the a-hole in this scenario. Considering this post is definitely not pre the big sickie plaguing the world, there'd be a lot of businesses, especially cafes, doing it tough. No doubt this woman was being told by her boss to close up as soon as possible if it looked like there were no customers coming in anymore. And I would not doubt for a second if she gets in trouble for working a bit beyond 5 o'clock. It's a stupid system, but most places just end your shift at 5 o'clock when you close, even though, you've got to clean up the place and try and polish everything up, make it all nice and spick and spleen for 8 a.m. the next day, or 6 a.m. in some places too. So no doubt she was cleaning early so she could leave on time and not have to stick around for an extra 30 minutes of not getting any pay. I think people need to understand that there's a reason why they say closed and not closing time. So if you come across a place that looks like it's closed within the next 30 minutes, assume that they're not going to be available to serve you. But okay, if you're really craving something, if you really need your caffeine fix, then sure, go in, assume that they maybe really still want the money. But you better be on your best behavior. You are not above them when it comes to closing time. They're getting paid in that last half hour of service to clean up the place. Almost Quinoa says, "You're the a-hole. Sounds like to me you've never worked in service. You held her after close, were rude about it, and somehow don't see why that's wrong. Congratulations. You're the kind of customer that ruins employees' days." You're the a-hole in my opinion. You saw she was closing up and then took your time. Why? To rub it in her face? You could have asked her nicely if she wanted to give you a quick order since it wasn't closed yet, but you had to be a bully. Exactly! What are you proving by being a junk? And someone making you food and drink? But Coffee Throw replied, "If I had left immediately, would I still have been an a-hole just for going in the first place? That aside, I wasn't finished with my order. It's common to put cream in coffee, and she didn't even offer." Yeah, okay. You're the a-hole, you know it. Couldn't help myself is a lie. And I hope your coffee in the future is always the sort of lukewarm that's too cool for hot coffee but too warm for iced. Damn. While you're at it, why don't you just wish for his hamburger buns to always be soggy and fall apart?
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed today's content. It helps the channel out, helps me grow it. I really love doing these things. I hope to be doing them even more. Of course, if you'd like to see more, you can always check out my channel. Again, if you're not subscribed, what the hell are you doing? You enjoyed it. You're at the end of the video now. It means you enjoyed the stuff. Anyway, hope you have a good one, guys. I'll see you later. You're amazing. I love talking to you. See you later. Bye. Woo.